What is up, YouTube? How's everybody doing? This your boy Reg right here with another album review. I know. I said I was gonna do this at 9:30, but my apologies for my lateness. I was taking a nap. I was so tired. And the album I'm about to do today is J. Cole's. J. Cole. I want to say his fourth studio album, which is called For Your Eyes Only. It's the album cover right here. Yeah, man. I don't. Of course, as you guys can see, I don't actually have the album present on me right now, but I was like, you know what? I'll still talk about the fucking album and shit like that. So you guys should definitely know who J. Cole is. You know, rap from Fayetteville and whatnot. You know, head of his own label like Dreamville Records and whatnot too. And the singles album was known for are only thing that came out of this album was Deja Vu and Neighbors. And guest appearances, pretty much J. Cole, he pretty much had all the guest appearances himself, but he did have some background vocals from like K Fox, Ari Lennox, you know. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so and producers include J. Cole as an executive producer, Ibrahim Hamad, Elite, BLVK, Boy Wonder, who I mentioned a couple times on this channel before, Cardiac, Chago, I'm saying his name right, Childish Major, Deputy, Elijah Scarlett, Frank Dukes, Ron Gilmore, Steve Lacy, Vilas, and Vinyls. Vinyls definitely a dope producer who worked with people like Jay-Z, Drake, J. Cole, and whatnot. So, okay, so after the release of 2014 Forest Hills Drive, that album was so popular that J. Cole went on tour with that, and fast forward to 2015, he had dropped a live album called the Forest Hills Drive Live, which was followed by the Road to Homecoming documentary, which was ended up following it. 2014 Forest Hills Drive also, believe it or not, it was also one top rap album at the 2015 Billboard Music Awards and Album of the Year at the BET Hip Hop Awards of 2015. It was nominated for Best Rap Album for the Grammy Awards, and it was a single. Apparently, was also nominated for Best Rap Performance and shit. So around the time he was making this album, around the time he was actually making this album and shit like that, he kind of got into some controversy, and he was kind of going through some personal issues. Now the controversy happened when definitely happened when, like, a couple of days before the album was actually released, there was some songs that came out. Two songs came out called False Prophets and Everybody Dies. And that song caused some controversy because on the song and shit like that, he appeared to be definitely taking shots at Lil Yachty, Lil Uzi Vert, and shit like that. And they kind of like had like a war on words and shit like that too, and stuff like that. So yeah, man, like False Prophets and Everybody Dies, those are definitely dope tracks right there and stuff like that. I kind of prefer False Prophets more, in my opinion. And also around this time too, pretty much the album pretty much told like a concept story and shit like that. Yeah, he did this Kanye West too and shit like that. I forgot to mention. Yeah, appreciate the lookout, try. Yeah, what was I about to say? Yeah, it was pretty much a concept album based on a story about one of J. Cole's friends that actually died and stuff like that, because he was basically was a close friend, and he didn't really reveal his name just for the privacy and whatnot. So yeah, because his friend, the young man, was basically drug dealing and shit like that, and the album was pretty much created for that drug dealer's daughter and shit like that, just to listen to after he died and what. So yeah, that's what this whole album kind of takes like a different turn, like a very mature kind of tone and whatnot. So yeah, so this album has 10 songs. First of all, I just want to say the album cover is pretty. I like the album cover and shit. Just as the kids in the background, just J.Cole facing the background too, whatnot. Yeah, I definitely feel like the album cover is dope. Overall, alright, so now it's about time for the nitty gritty, where we definitely talk about, the songs and whatnot. So without further ado, here we go. Track number 1 we got is For Whom the Bell Tolls, which that song right there was a cool song. Nice one, nice song to begin off the album with and shit like that. Pretty much what I got from that track was the fact how it touches on the feelings of how one does not have nowhere to go and shit like that. And so like the protagonist and shit like that, he's contemplating suicide and shit like that too. Definitely, definitely a dope track right here. Definitely a dope track. Yeah, man. And which definitely takes us into the next track, which is Immortal. Now, Immortal is definitely another like introspective track right here, where our protagonist, J.Cole speaking through the protagonist as he just gravitating to death, as like a drug dealer and basically as his own artist too. And it's just basically talking about how the pressures of one, can definitely have a toll, can definitely have a death toll on you and shit like that, and how we have to stay calm and whatnot. So that's one thing about Immortal. Like, it's definitely saying like how we all have like our weak spots. Basically, we all have our weak spots and shit like that. We're not immune to everything. I love the line when he says, 6 o'clock in the morning, gotta hit the Bowflex, get my way up on the block, keep watching for the cops. God, they love to serve a nigga 3 hots in the cot. Nowadays, crime pays like a part-time job and shit. Like, yeah, man, I definitely love the line and shit too and stuff. So yeah, and the beat was dope too. That was produced by Frank Dukes and Cardiac and shit. So I felt like the beat was pretty solid. Track number 3, Deja Vu. Oh Jesus Christ. This song, I gotta be real with you. I know a lot of fans like this song. I know a lot of fans love this song and shit like that. But I am tired of this track right here. For one, there was some controversy behind this song because the beat sounds very similar to Bryson Tiller's Exchange song from the Trap Soul album and stuff. And a lot of artists have kind of was definitely saying how they stole it from Bryson Tiller and whatnot, but producers Vinyls and Blow Boy Wonder, they claimed that another producer by the name of Foreign Tech had stolen, remade, and released Exchange before J. Cole's version of the beat was made and stuff like that. And this was according to a tweet. And the beat was supposed to have been made for the Forest Hills Drive album, and the 2014 Forest Hills Drive album and shit too. So, and you can definitely kind of tell. You can definitely kind of tell just by the way how it was made and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I always felt like when it came to like For Your Eyes Only and Forest Hills Drive, pretty much it's not really that much different when it comes to the sound, like the sound and whatnot. Because I just felt like sound wise they're not too far apart. So yeah, that's one thing I have to say about that. Yeah, Deja Vu, pretty much the song itself is talking about how he's imagining a conversation with the woman that the drug dealer was supposed to be like attracted to and stuff like that. And so yeah, man. It's just I've heard that beat plenty of times. I heard that shit right there and stuff like that. But without further ado, if you guys like the song, all the luck to you. But if not, next track we got is Biomentality, which is actually one of my favorite songs off this album. And it's a pretty interesting song because the song discusses how fame can definitely fuck you over and shit like that. How how he definitely has to reiterate because the fact that around this time this album was supposed to came out, he said that this might have been, there was rumors that this might have been his last album, which he definitely used this song. He used the song to make like notes about that and shit like that, saying that I'm not going anywhere and shit like that. And he's just talking about how fame can definitely do one number on you and shit. So yeah, that's one thing I got for Vow Mentality. Next track number 5, is She's Mine Part 1. Yeah, this one was pretty solid as well too. Basically, She's Mine Part 1. Cole is rapping from like a point of view from his late friend and shit like that, and he's definitely taking a lot of parallels from his own life and conveying it into the song, like, and shit like that. And he wrote this song, excuse me, he dedicated this song to his wife, his wife Melissa Hall, whom he had married in 2015 and shit like that too. And he kind of kept it on a hush because they've been college sweethearts. He didn't want everyone in his personal business, and it kind of came out that he was married and shit too. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. I like the song was pretty straight and shit like that. The line where he says, "The same wall that stopped me from letting go and shedding tears from the lacking of having a father and the passing of my peers. When I'm too scared to expose myself, it turns out you know me better than I know myself," and shit. Like, yeah, I definitely love this track right here. Very mean, one of the most meaningful tracks off this album. Track number 6 we got is Change. Oh man, this is actually my favorite song off this album, and it's produced by J.Cole, and it has Ari Lennox. It definitely has Ari Lennox as a featured guest. Yeah, man. Shout out to Ari Lennox and stuff like that. Dope singer. Another singer in Dreamville that's making noise right now. For those of you guys who, if you haven't peeped, check out the Shea Butter Baby album that came out this year too and shit. So yeah, check that shit out. Check out all of her other works. But yeah, man. So Change. This song was pretty good. It was actually my favorite song off this album, where he's talking about like maturation, and you gotta understand how the violence in like the black community would always have a way of bringing somebody down and shit. The beat definitely has a more upbeat feel compared to like the majority songs off this album. This definitely has like a very jazzy feel to it, like almost as reminiscent of the Born Sinner album and shit too, which you guys have not. Just to let everybody know, I've reviewed pretty much almost all of J. Cole's albums and shit. So yeah, man. So just to let everybody know. Yeah, so this was a very dope track right here, Change. One line I like when he says, as if he's spiteful like them white folks that control the jail. See, I believe if God is real, he never judge a man, because he knows us all, and therefore he would understand the ignorance that make a nigga take his brother life, the bitterness and pain that got him beating on his wife and shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this was definitely very dope track right here and shit like that. And I love how Ari and J. Cole was definitely on the bridge and shit like that. Yeah, man, very dope track. Dreamville Records, man, alone. Yeah, I definitely gotta like listen to a lot more of the artists, because there's artists I like a lot of their artists, like JID, like Fast and stuff like that. But there's like several more releases I do have to check out for myself and stuff like that. Like I definitely do gotta peep into this whole Earth Gang and shit like that, because I've heard so many good things about them. I think I've heard the album, some of the Mirrorland album, a while back ago, but I definitely need to sit down and really listen to it and shit. So yeah, man, that's fucking Change right there. Alright, and the next track we got is Neighbors. Ooh, this one's a very dope track right here. And this song was actually like more like inspired by actually a true moment, because on March 18th, 2016, the house that J. Cole had rented, the fucking SWAT team, they basically raided the house and shit like that, because they thought that they were selling narcotics, selling drugs and shit like that. And mind you, like this is fucking North Carolina and shit like that. So yeah, a lot of motherfuckers always think like the black community is always selling drugs out here, and it kind of reminds me of that one scene in Straight Outta Compton when they were recording music and shit like that, and it was that one scene when like Dre, he was arguing with, I think it was like his baby mama or some shit like that, and the cops came thinking that they were drug dealers, and so that ended up being the release of fucking Struck the Police and shit. So kind of reminds me of that scene right there. So yeah, that being said, Neighbors is definitely a dope track right here. Um, the line when he says, "My niggas stand outside and pass cigars, filled with marijuana, laughing hard. Thankful that they friends a platinum star. In the driveway, there's no rapper cars, just some shit to get from back and forth." Yeah, man, like very dope track right here. Definitely very dope track. I get the names, think I'm selling dope, man. Like that's probably my most listened to song off this project. Track number 8, Folding Clothes. Again, another very dope track right here. Um, Another very dope track right here and shit like that. He wrote this one yet again for his wife and shit like that, and he wrote this around the time when she was like she was pregnant with their daughter, and he wrote it just as a way of doing the small things like letting her know like she's like she's basically cared for and shit like that. That's one thing I got from Folding Clothes. Yeah, that fucking beat right there is so fucking nasty. Yeah, something you never really hear a lot in hip hop songs, especially, excuse me, in this day and age and shit, because you never really hear that many. You don't really hear that many like hip hop songs, talking good about their parent wives and how they'll cater to her and shit like that. So yeah, I definitely feel like this was a very solid track right here. Folding Clothes. Track number 9, She's Mine Part 2. Much better than the first one in my opinion, where he's really going in depth with like how the responsibilities of fatherhood can definitely lay an impact over his daughter and shit like that. So yeah, man, very dope track, very dope track right here and shit. She's Mine Part 2 is a very strong track. And the last track off this album, For Your Eyes Only, self-titled track, and it's pretty much like a message to J. Cole's newborn daughter and stuff like that, about how he'll always be there. He'll always be there for her and shit. You know what I'm saying? And like the first 3 verses, he's talking about from his own friend's perspective, but then the final verse is from Cole's own point of view, like and shit like that. So some lines I love when he says one line like okay, and now I feel it's too late for me to ever be the one that set examples that never set for me. I'm living fast, but not fast enough, cause karma keeps on catching up to me. And if my past becomes a death to me, I hope you understand. And shit. And so he ended off in the last verse. He says this one line that says, sometimes I think that segregation would have done us better, although I know that means that I would never be brought into this world because my daddy was so thrilled when he found him a white girl to take back to Jonesboro, with Lil Zach and Cole World barely 1 year old. Now it's 30 years later, making sure the story's told and shit. Yeah, that's a very fucking deep line and shit, because you guys should know, like, his father was like a black and his mother was a white German and shit. So yeah, he's basically talking about how the impact of it all during like the civil rights movement, and because like around that time too, mixed relationships were not looked upon in the positive light around that time too, especially if the mother was a white woman, father was black and shit. But times have definitely changed now. All right, so that's all of the time off this album. Overall, here's the thing about this album. If you ask me, it's probably his most least satisfying album and shit like that. I don't want to say it's his weakest album, because it's not a bad album. For Your Eyes Only is not a terrible album. Because I know a lot of people love this album. They love the maturation of this, which I do love the maturation of the album too. But my biggest gripe, I just felt like some of the production was a bit too lazy. Not lazy, but just too bland and compared to like his previous works like Born Sinner and Forest Hills Drive and shit like that. And you know, I don't know. It's just like, and I don't really just want to bring like a lot of faults off this album based on the beats and shit like that. But at the same time too, I just felt like I just heard so much great stuff from J. Cole, great produced work from J. Cole and stuff he did for other artists. But with that being said, if you're just talking about the bad part, I just have to say some of the beats was just kind of on this. But on content wise, I definitely feel like it's a very nice concept and shit like that. You know, something you rarely talk about with J. Cole because he was definitely at his most introspective and vulnerable. Just something he wants to leave for his daughter. He wants to leave like a good legacy for his daughter and shit like that. So yeah, I definitely feel like excuse me, I definitely feel like this album and shit like that. If I was to rate this album, I would probably give this album a 4 out of 5 actually. Like, cause when I first heard it, I'll have to keep it real. I did not really like this album, and I kind of like not even didn't even listen to it for a while. But then I re-listened to it, and I just liked the content he was talking about. He was definitely speaking like a lot of shit with this album. You know, just how like a black father can definitely lay an impact on like your children, your seed and shit. So yeah, that's J. Cole's For Your Eyes Only. Now give me 1 second. Yeah, next week I'm definitely gonna talk about this album next week and shit. So this is his recent album, the KOD album, and I definitely have a lot of things to say because I felt like it was a nice continuation. But I'm gonna say my thoughts on that. And yeah, that's fucking J. Cole with For Your Eyes Only. Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, what's up everybody in the chat? I'm just gonna read some chat. I'm just gonna read some comments and stuff like that. Um, and just to let everybody know, if you guys just have any albums for me to talk about and shit, because I'm pretty much after I reviewed the last 2 albums I can't catch up with, I'm pretty much all caught up and stuff like that. So if anybody has some albums they want to talk about, just leave it on the comments and shit. Um, what's up, Try? You said your favorite tracks are Deja Vu, Vibe Mentality, Changes in Folding Clothes. Okay, I definitely can fuck with you on that level. Definitely can fuck with you on that. And yeah, definitely check out Ari Lennox's album and shit. If you just love that R&B, like you guys know, I mentioned Ari Lennox a couple times on this channel. I gotta get my hands on that album though and shit. I gotta get my hands on that. You say you give this album a three mics? Okay, not bad, not a bad rating. You say you feel like it was rushed after Forest Hills Drive. You should have waited 2 years and dropped something. Well, if you want to say that album was rushed, you might as well say Forest Hills Drive itself was rushed too, because if I'm not mistaken, didn't that album come out 1 year after Born Sinner? And I don't know, like to me, when it comes to like favorite J. Cole albums, I just like it's got to be Forest Hills Drive #1, then Born Sinner, and I'm probably going to throw in Friday Night Lights for right now and shit. But yeah, because like I just felt like, you know, strong sound quality wise, you know, Forest Hills and For Your Eyes Only, they're not too far apart and shit. I kind of felt like with J. Cole, he was just trying to make a good balance between Forest Hills Drive, but at the same time not trying to make it seem like it's a sequel. So I kind of see what you're saying with that. Ashley, what's up? What's happening? What's happening? Yeah, definitely me and Ashley next week. We definitely got to do that Slick Rick review. The Ruler's back. I want to let you know because I got my work schedule and stuff like that and shit like that. So yeah. You said Try. You want to do HNIC Prodigy? Oh yeah, we did talk about that. We can do that possibly before the year is over. Cause you know Christmas is definitely around the corner, and I know I'm going to go to my dad's spot for Christmas. I'm going to be working a lot more, so I definitely before the year's over, or even in the early part of 2020, I'm definitely going to review that album because I plan on taking a break. I hopefully I want to take a break early January and come back like late January to early February and shit. Like, you guys know how I do. You know what, Christian? A lot of people has been asking me to review the Black Trash album, and that album is definitely, I guarantee you, it's going to be reviewed before the year is over. I guarantee you. A lot of people have talked to me about reviewing that album. I know Try had wanted to talk about the album too and shit. So, and yeah, Sam. Believe it or not, Doctor Name is possibly coming next week. Believe it or not. I just gotta, like I said, I just gotta rework my schedule and shit like that. There's a 50-50 chance I might make that a pre-recorded review, but I'm not too sure yet. Cause I do have to do this other CD collection video and shit like that. It's like a lot of CDs I gotta talk about. So yeah. Where am I, KOD? Where am I ranking KOD? Stay tuned for the review next week, bro. That's all I'm saying. But I just want to let you know that I do prefer KOD over For Your Eyes Only. Just throwing it out there already. Excuse me. And since we're talking about people reviewing and shit, definitely also gonna like review some more. Gonna stretch out over my boundaries and shit like that. Cause I know my roommate actually gave me a lot of albums he wanted me to review too and shit like that too. So definitely some dope picks I got coming up in stores. Also, we also have to talk about Madonna's Erotica album too before the year is over. So that's another album I definitely want to do before the year is over and shit. So, like I said before, y'all have any albums y'all want me to do, I'm definitely down at this point right now and shit. Like new school, old school, funk, even artists that you're not sure that's never been discussed on this channel. Like I just want to challenge at the moment, And I know I'm definitely gonna keep Christians note about the Sticky Fingers Black Trash. I definitely would talk about that album and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I currently don't have any Onyx albums besides All We Got Is Us, and I definitely need to get some Onyx albums too because I know a lot of people wanted me to also talk about some Onyx albums too. But I'm gonna wait till I actually get the physicals of at least Back the Fuck Up and the Shut Them Down and shit, or hell even the Back the Fuck Up Part 2, which I didn't really fucking care for, to be real with you and shit. Yeah, I just felt like when it comes to Onyx and shit, I like the first 3 albums, and the shit that they did with Snow Goons was okay. I'm not hating on that, but I prefer the Onyx with Sticky, Sansi, and Fedro. That's the Onyx I like, and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Just that classic batch and shit like that. Rest in peace to Big DS, by the way, who had fucking left the group after the release of the Back the Fuck Up album. Rest in peace to him, by the way, too. You said Bon Iver. You wanted to talk about Bon Iver, Try? Yeah, that's that nigga that did that song with Kanye for the My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy album, if I'm not mistaken, right? But yeah, man. And I also just filmed the first episode of the Beef series and shit like that. So I'm definitely gonna drop that after I do some more editing on it. And be on the lookout for some dope shit content coming out on this channel too. Like I'm gonna be clocking up a lot of shit with this right here. So yeah. Or the Vampire Weekend album. Oh yeah, we can talk about that. We can definitely talk about that and shit. Cause I've heard some good things about Bon Iver. Oh, Vampire Weekend is another rock group. My fault. It's an indie rock group. I never heard of them like that, but I'll definitely check them out. When it comes to like a lot of rock music in this day and age and shit, I'm kind of hit or miss between all a lot of rock music this day and age, because some of them are just okay, but some of them you can just see the popness and all of it. But so with that being said, I'm just gonna end off the fucking review right here and shit like that. J.Cole's For Your Eyes Only. Like I said before, you guys should I definitely would recommend it for a lot of J. Cole fans and shit like that. So I would recommend it. Cause a lot of people want to talk shit about J. Cole, which I don't understand that J. Cole hate sometimes, but I love J. Cole. That's all that matters and shit. And I'm just glad I finally talked about this album. So J. Cole, For Your Eyes Only. And thank you guys so much for watching this. It's your boy Reg here. Peace.